What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Talkin Football podcast. This is episode 43. In today's episode, I will be going over 5 players you should avoid in your fantasy drafts. Let me hit the intro and let's get right into it. So if you guys remember, I did a very similar video last year. I actually did the exact same video last year where I targeted 5 guys you should not draft. And I think I did pretty well in it. My big miss was Nico Collins. I said, do not draft Nico Collins. That is not someone you should draft. I totally missed on him. He was fantastic last year. Aside from him, though, Anthony Richardson, total bust. Brandon Ayuk, he obviously got hurt, so he wasn't as good as we expect him to be. And even when he was playing, he wasn't that great. I believe, at the top of my head, I don't remember who else I said, but those are 2 players, those are 2 other players I said do not target aside from Nico Collins. So I have a track record of being mostly right in these. So definitely stick around to watch the entire video. And if you guys disagree with me, leave a comment below so I can, because I'm still preparing for my draft, to let me know what you guys think about these 5 players. So let's just start out, and this is going to be in pretty much in ADP order, and these ADPs are based off of FantasyPros, okay? And they might be slightly different, and we're going to start number 1, Las Vegas running back, Ashton Jeanty. So according to FantasyPros, his ADP is 7, and he's ranked, which is very high. He's ranked around the 11, 12, 13 spot, according to Yahoo, which is the one that I use for fantasy. I think that's way too high. For a rookie running back, I think it's very unreasonable. He is unproven. I don't believe in drafting rookie running backs that high. Let's just say he's a 3rd, 4th, 5th round pick, then sure. But I think 7 as the ADP, ranking around 12, 13 is a little bit high for me. Especially when you have guys like Josh Jacobs and Devon A-Chain who are ranked lower than him and who are going to have RB1 opportunities. I think that might be a little bit better if you want a running back. I'd go with one of those guys, especially if you're targeting maybe early mid second round. I'd rather go Jacobs or A-Chain over Ashton Jeanty. But that's just my opinion. Why am I saying do not target this guy? First off, he's a rookie. We don't know what he's going to play like. We really don't. We saw at Boise State, he was fantastic, and statistically he was very good. And was that because he was being force-fed the ball? Maybe. I'm not going to say that that's a reason why he's not a good player to have in fantasy. And just for what it's worth, just a quick side note, what I say in other videos about Ashton Jeanty or whoever's next in this video, I'm not going to contradict myself. These are my total fantasy beliefs. I think Jeanty's going to be a great running back this year, but I think in fantasy with his ADP, it's too high. I also think in an offense that now has Geno Smith, they're going to throw the ball a little bit more. With Aiden O'Connell, and unfortunately, I'm not an Aiden O'Connell guy. I just don't like him. I'm not a fan of his. You're going to throw the ball a little bit more. And when you have an offense led by Brock Bowers, obviously, and guys like Jacoby Myers and Trey Tucker, I'm a big fan of. I really like Trey Tucker. And you also have Raheem Mostert in the backfield. I think you're more likely to maybe go through the air, especially with Pete Carroll. I think that's a big, big change. Pete Carroll's a thrower. He likes to throw the ball. I think you're going to see that a little bit more. That's why he brought in Geno. You didn't bring in a quarterback to run the ball. That's my opinion. His schedule also isn't great. Plays against New England, obviously the Chargers, Chiefs, and Denver twice, and then Philly, along with some other teams that could be noted. I didn't note them here because I didn't think that their running defense was that great, the other teams. But just from these 5 teams, that's 7 matchups right there. No, 8 matchups, sorry. With the 6 within the division that are not easy matchups because I like the Chargers front 7. I love the Chiefs front 7. Speaking of the Chiefs, Carl Aftis just got extended today. Big time money for him. 4 for $93 when I'm recording this. In Denver, they're great. I love Denver. I really like Denver this year. And then on top of that, Philly on the road. That's murderous. New England on the road to start the year. Now, if New England was in the middle of the season or maybe later in the season on the road, I'd be like, okay, then definitely not because that's way cold and that's not great carrying conditions. But right now, I would say hold off on Ashton Jeanty. I don't like his schedule that much. I think competition-wise, I think Bowers is a better – if you want a Raider, go with Bowers, go with Myers. I wouldn't go with Ashton Jeanty, especially at his ADP. I think it's very unreasonable for a rookie to be ranked this high. It doesn't make sense to me. Genuinely, it does not. I don't get it. Number 2 is Rashee Rice, Kansas City Chiefs receiver, staying in the AFC West here. According to FantasyPros, his ADP is 37. I've seen him pretty much. I think Yahoo has him right now at 30. And the Yahoo boards are subject to change. So if you guys are watching this maybe a couple weeks after I upload this, the Yahoo boards change. They change them very frequently up until the actual drafting time starts, say mid-late August. ADP right now, according to FantasyPros, is 37, like I said. I think that guys like Pacheco, Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Travis Kelce, I think those are guys that I'd rather have over Rice. Now, I'm not saying that Rice is not the wideout one there. He is. But with the upcoming suspension because of his off-field issues, I'm not a big fan of it. And I think if you're going to get suspended, I wouldn't draft you that high. I'm not going to take that risk and say, hopefully it's a mid-season, suspension. I can maybe take a guy who I took in the late rounds who actually worked. Maybe I'll do that. Or maybe, I picked up this guy from the waivers. Maybe I'll use him instead of Rice for those couple of weeks. I think he's probably going to start the season like that. And I'm not willing to spend a third, fourth round pick on him that high for a 2 or 3 week suspension to start the year. And it might even be more than that. But I think that right now it's probably going to be 2 or 3 weeks. The offense is also very inconsistent. We saw that last year. Last year I drafted Mahomes and Kelce back-to-back. I had the 10th pick in a 10-man league. I took Mahomes and Kelce, and they did not do much for me. They really didn't. And I was lucky enough to trade them away, and I ended up winning the league. But I really all Chiefs this year. My only question mark is Pacheco. I'm a big Pacheco guy. I really like him outside of fantasy. In fantasy, though, he's really tough because they split the carries a lot there. And Travis Kelce, I mean, his ADP is like 90 something. He's ranked really low right now, which I'm really surprised about. But Rashee Rice is ranked too high. If you want to, I think the other wideouts at that area make more sense. Marvin Harrison Jr., who I like a lot. Devontae Adams, just signed with the Rams. Obviously, he's going to be splitting receptions with Puka Nacua. But I think getting a guy like Devontae Adams is very useful. I think he's a great player. Especially if you can get Puka and Tay, that's great. And DJ Moore, who I'm expecting to have big things this year with Caleb entering his second year with Ben Johnson. I'd rather have those 3 receivers instead of Rashee Rice. Say his ADP was like 50, 60 something. No issues there. These first 2 guys, though, Genty and Rice, my big concern is ADP. I think they're ranked way too high, especially considering their situations. I would stay away from Rashee Rice personally. Especially considering those first rounds are for your starting receivers, not even like a flex. I mean, unless it's very rare they are able to draft 3 receivers just like that. And especially, at least in my opinion, I feel like the talent pool is stinky this year. I don't think it's that good. I was like, I need to start planning for fantasy a little bit. And I looked at the board. I'm like, wow, it really sucks. Because last year it was pretty good. I remember I was like, okay, well, you know what, 50 or 50-51, depending on when I was picking with my third back-to-back, or maybe 49-50. No, 50-51. Sorry. I was like, yeah, like these are the guys. Like these are guys that I want to have on my team 100%. But this year I'm like 50-51. It's like kind of It's not really that good in my opinion. I don't know. Coming up, number 3. And these guys are a little bit different. I would say these are not ADP guys as much. With Kenny Walker, a little bit different. Number 3 is Kenny Walker. As you can see right there. His ADP, according to FantasyPros, is 44, which I think is a little bit high. Not unreasonable, though. He's ranked around anywhere from 45 to 55, depending on where you use, I believe. Here's the thing. The Seahawks are great at running the ball. They really are. But they're better with Zach Charbonnet than they are with Kenny Walker. And that's exactly why I would not draft Kenny Walker. My big thing with Zach Charbonnet is he gets both the air yards and occasionally the goal line yards. I mean, like, and the goal line snaps. If they want to cut it to the outside, they're going to use Zach Charbonnet. They're not going to use Kenny Walker. Kenny Walker also has an extensive injury history, and that's another reason why I'm definitely staying away from him. And again, the same thing. If you guys want to get, you're set on Kenny Walker, why? Zach Charbonnet is like 40 picks later, and he's a better overall selection, in my opinion. Yeah, Zach Charbonnet was great last year, in my opinion. Go with another one of those. I have 3 running backs written down here. I have Chuba Hubbard, Aaron Jones, and Joe Mixon, who are all in pretty much that same range. Even, you know what, Alvin Kamara, I'm pretty sure, is in this range too, in terms of the rankings. So if you're in a league where you might have some guys who draft based on the draft board rather than ADP, I would take advantage of that. Don't go after a Kenny Walker. Go after a Hubbard or a Jones or a Mixon. I think that's better for you guys. That's what I'm doing. I'm not targeting Kenny Walker. I don't care if I don't have a running back. I'm not going after Kenny Walker. He's just not someone who I'm a big fan of. Again, if you maybe get him in the 5th, 6th round past his ADP, then you might have to just take him. And that happened with me last year. Michael Pittman Jr., the exact same thing. I was like, you know what? Michael Pittman Jr. is still here for whatever reason. He was supposed to go around 50. He was like 70, 71. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take him. It was not a good pick. But I think the value was still there. I would definitely do that with Kenny Walker. Next up, and this might come as a surprise to some people, I would 100% stay away from him. I know this is my second rookie. Let me just say this. It's not the ADP with Travis Hunter. It's not the ADP. His ADP, according to FantasyPros, is 73. That's not it. I think that's very good value for a potential flex option. Here's the thing. And I believe I said this at some point, maybe during my NFL Draft live stream. Consistency and energy, I am not on board with. There's no way you can convince me that this dude is going to go out and play defense and then come out and play offense the next drive. Going up against Carolina, you think he's going to guard T-Mac and then the next drive he's going to go up against J.C. Horn? I don't believe that. He also has Brian Thomas Jr. has to go up against. Also has Tank Bigsby has to go up against. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't think that's something that's going to happen. He's not going to get a lot of reps, I think, or a lot of targets, rather, over guys like BTJ and Tank. And if Travis Etienne is still there, there's a lot of train rumors there. If Travis Etienne's still there, I think Etienne is going to get priority over Travis Hunter. I just don't see a world where Travis Hunter consistently puts up, I think for a good maybe flex performance out of him, you're going to want maybe 6, 7 catches for maybe 50 to 60 yards. That right there is roughly 11, 12, 13 points on in standard scoring. I would just stick with that. I don't think he can consistently do that. And he's playing in Florida in very hot weather. It's just not realistic. If you want another player, go Pickens. I'm iffy on this year. George Pickens, I'm not totally sure. He was very close to making this video, but I couldn't really find a reason for why you guys shouldn't draft him. Pickens, I think, is a slightly better option. Jalen Waddle, even though he looks a little bit bigger this year at training camp, I don't know. And Godwin is obviously coming off the ACL. So Waddle and Godwin are more I'm not totally sure about, but they have very high upside. Pickens, you know what you're getting. You're going to get 11.2 points pretty much from him every week as a wideout too, behind CeeDee Lamb. But I think those guys are better than Travis Hunter. I'm not taking Hunter this year. I just don't think it's a realistic thing to happen. Now, I'm not totally sure how this works. If he gets a pick 6, I don't think that's a touchdown for him. I don't think that's how it works. I would score it that way personally, but I don't think that's how they're going to score it. So unless your league does have it that way, then maybe you might want to draft Travis Hunter. But if not, I wouldn't. I would stay away from Travis Hunter personally. Number 5 was a little tough for me because I was looking at the board and I was like, a lot of these guys are placed pretty well. If they're hurt or the down year, they're lower. I think it checks out pretty much. But I think number 5 is going to make a lot of sense here. It hurts me to say this as a Giants fan, but in terms of fantasy, I think he's going to have a good year in terms of overall stats. But if you want to look at it fantasy-wise, which a lot of people do, I wouldn't draft Tyrone Tracy. ADP is fine though. His ADP is 83. I'm not worried about the ADP. I'm worried about his fumbling issues that he had last year, which is very obvious. And I mean, he wasn't bad at all. He was giving me 10, 11, 12, 13 points as a flex. And I think that's what you want. He's a good RB2 option, maybe on a bye week for one of your starting running backs, but he fumbles a lot. Another issue, Cam Scatterbo. Cam Scatterbo is coming in. He's going to take goal line snaps from him, I believe. I think that's what the plan is. And Tyrone Tracy is very dependent through the air. He's very dependent on catching. He's going to get you – he's probably going to – realistically, if they're going to do a split backfield, which I believe is the plan right now in New York, I think he's going to get you maybe 12 to 15 carries for around 40 to 50 yards, and then probably going to give you 3-4 catches for probably, 30 yards. let's say he gives you 12 for 50 on the ground, and then let's say 3 for 30 through the air. That's 60 points. That's 11 points, which isn't bad. But let's just say he doesn't get targeted as much through the air. That's only 5 points. That's not in standard scoring. That's not good enough. If you want a late round running back or mid late round running back, I think Najee is a better option, especially if you can get Hampton. Pairing them would be great. Brian Robinson, I'm a big fan of. I think he's a better option than Tracy at this point. And Tyler Warren, or not Tyler Warren, Jalen Warren. I just wrote down the last names on my list. Not Tyler Warren, Jalen Warren. But the Steelers, I think he's another better option. Warren especially because he's got the through the air upside and on the ground. Tracy's the one, though, I will say, if you take him at his ADP, it's not a bad pick. Like, I think Genty is way too high. Rice I wouldn't take because of the suspension, or the looming suspension. Kenny Walker's injury history, I think his ADP is a little bit high. Hunter's not awful. I think he's a little bit high because of the defensive capabilities he has. Tyrone Tracy, I think you can get away with it. He's an 8th, based on what this is, he's an 8th round player, and I think that's fair. I think that's what he's ranked at right now, and I agree with it. I don't think he's ranked that poorly, but again, with his stuff going on, I'm not with fumbling. I mean, hopefully he can clear that up, and obviously gonna get goal line snaps taken away from him with Scatabo, or presumably he's going to get that taken away from him. Then you need to rethink that a little bit. That's how we're going to end this episode. I hope it helped you guys clear up some things on your fantasy draft boards. Be on the lookout for more shorts and videos upcoming soon. When I'm not sure when I'm uploading this, but I know that I'm going to have some content ready to go. Be sure to check out my shorts page because that's usually where I'm going to be posting stuff. Thank you guys for watching. This is Talkin Football, and that's what I got to say about that.